was always nice to Alberto because he knows Alberto did MMA.
Okay.
And he was always nice to me because he would see me in the ring always like before the shows, and he would see that I would be wrestling with the extras or somebody else, or like I would like Natty. So I was always in the ring, so he would see me do that. So he was always nice to me about that too.
So when Alberto actually came back to WWE for his second run, they paired him with Dutch Mantel and
Hmm.
not you. Did they reach out to you?
No, no. Alberto told me before he came back. I was in India actually. I was in India when this happened. Um, he messaged me beforehand, and he told me, he's like, hey, just letting you know. He messaged me like a couple of days before it happened. He's like, just letting you know, this is what's happening. Just letting you know. I was like, hey man, listen, like I'm happy for you. I'm happy that you're going back. He didn't tell me that he was gonna be with Dutch, but he told me he was gonna be going back. I was like, and at the time, like I said, I was in India, so I was busy anyways. I think I had just been there for like 2 months, 2 or 3 months, yeah, 2 months or so. So I had just gone there, and I still have like 4 months to go. So I was like, hey, no, it's cool. Like, I mean, once I'm done, if things still work out, maybe we can, reunite or something, whatever. But no, like I was happy for him because he's my brother. I mean, he's my friend. Um, so I was very, very happy that he got to go back.
So you mentioned how you saw a lot of promise in Biggie Langston. Another person you worked with who became a world champion, I mean, much before Biggie, was Jinder Mahal. Did you
Hmm.
see him as the face of the company at some point?
To be honest, uh, at the time, no. At the time, no, because the I don't want to say there was racism, um, but it's very rare when somebody of the color gets that far. Um, but I mean, when you see how much effort Jinder put into his body and his physique, yeah, then yeah, you're like, hey, this guy actually looks like a champion. He looks like somebody that can beat somebody. Um, and obviously because there's such a big market in India, there's such a huge market. That's why, like, Kali was put in a position the way that he was, and then to me it was like, well, yeah, well, why not put Jinder as a champion? Because he has the ability. He's a good wrestler. He looks great, and he can represent a major major market in India. Um, so after a while, yeah, you saw it, but at first, no, because again, I don't want to say there was racism, but
No, but
yeah, it was rare to see a person of color.
absolutely. I mean, but now that you mention it, why do you think there is such a ceiling for Latino superstars when it comes to WWE?
I have no idea. I have no idea. The Latino market is huge for WWE. They go down to Mexico quite a bit. So they go like twice a year maybe. So there's obviously money to be made there. And then that was something that we were very thankful when Alberto was champion, because we were representing Latino America. We were representing our people. And there's a big thing when it comes to representation. Uh, so like when Kofi won it, like now that Bobby Lashley has it, he's representing the African American community, and that's awesome. When Alberto had it, we represented the Latinos. When Jinder had it, he represented the Indian culture. Um, why it hasn't happened since, I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe they haven't found the person. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Do you have any Undertaker stories? Did you ever get a chance to interact with him?
Yeah, yeah. We got to interact with him a few times. Never on TV. We did house
Okay.
shows. Anytime we were around his area where he lives, he would come down. And it's goosebumps, man, because he was always a surprise. Well, after a while, it wasn't a surprise for me because I knew that if we were around his area, we knew that he was gonna be there. Um, but I remember the very first time. I think we were in Lubbock, Texas. It was a house show, and he wasn't announced. And I don't remember who was in the match. I don't remember who was in the match, but um, everybody was in the ring, and all of a sudden the lights. You hear the gong, and then the lights go down, and holy crap, the goosebumps, because everybody reacted, and I'm getting goosebumps now. The goosebumps that you get in your whole body, um, and then the lights come back up, and then it goes gong, and then they go back down again. So they tease the crowd a little bit, and then until eventually the music hits, and I amazing, amazing.
That's insane, man. So I was watching a few interviews to prepare for this one, and you
Mm.
mentioned that Triple H has his own bunch of guys and Vince has his own bunch of guys. Triple H apparently pushes his NXT guys a lot. I mean, he tries to push his NXT guys while Vince tries to push his guys, right? Do you have any? Can you elaborate on this?
Um, well, I mean, it's understandable. It's totally understandable. It's kind of like when there's a new president. When there's a new president, he brings his people in. That's totally understandable. Um, so of course, I mean, when you have Triple H that's slowly taking over slowly, he's gonna want to push his products, and that's understandable. When I said that, it doesn't mean like it's not in a bad way. I didn't mean it in a way of hate. I meant like that because that's what happens. Like if I were to come in to take some kind of position, of course I'm gonna want to bring in my guys, of course. Um, so yeah, that happens. That happens all the time. That happens anywhere. But yeah, he's gonna want to make his projects work, of course. So like I said, it's not in a negative way. Just that's just how life always works.
Uh, are you an NXT fan? Do you like what he's done with NXT?
Oh, of course, of course. NXT has grown to be such a big product. And like I said, I have so many friends down there and so many students that are there, and they I don't see it as developmental anymore. To me, it's not developmental anymore. It's an actual brand. It's a third brand. So to me, WWE has three brands: is Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. To me, NXT is not it's not developmental. I mean, it is, but I don't see it as developmental. Um, it's an actual brand. It's a name, and you see it. It's on TV,
Yeah,
so it's its own thing.
perfect. Okay, so you weren't around a lot when Brock Lesnar was around, but did you get a chance to interact with Brock backstage?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He was always cool. He was always really nice to us. He was always nice to Alberto because he knows Alberto did MMA.
Okay.
And he was always nice to me because he would see me in the ring always like before the shows, and he would see that I would be wrestling with the extras or somebody else, or like I would like Natty. So I was always in the ring, so he would see me do that. So he was always nice to me about that too, because he knows that I know how to wrestle. Like, and I don't mean pro wrestling. He knows that I know how to wrestle, like Greco and freestyle. He knows that I know how to do that. So he was always nice to me. He was always nice to me, and like I said, Alberto because of his MMA background.
Oh, cool, man. And so you come from the amateur wrestling background. How is it taking bumps and you took that crazy bump off that ladder through a table.
Yeah.
What was that like, man?
Um, at the time, it didn't. It felt okay but I still had the adrenaline. I was still like my blood was still running. I didn't feel it until later on that night when I got to the hotel, and then I cooled down and everything just started to hurt. If you go back and you watch the video, I missed the first table, and I went everything right into the second table, and my knee hit the first table, and that's what hurt the most. Um, so like for like 2 weeks, I had this big, huge bruise on my knee, and it hurt to walk. And obviously, I mean, I don't want to tell the office. So I just whenever we did TV again, I would just kind of suck it up, and I wouldn't tell anybody. I wouldn't show anybody that I had this big, massive bruise on my knee. I was afraid. Looking back now, I think I was afraid that I had messed up something and I was gonna need surgery because it took like 2 weeks before I could walk again like normal without limping. But oh man, that was yeah, it hurt. It hurt after. It hurt a lot after.